There's an episode of Sister Wives that, to be honest with you, I've been avoiding like the plague. I've kind of slow rolled it, but today is the day. The episode I'm talking about is actually when Truly got sick and she was admitted to the hospital for kidney failure. Now, for those who are unaware, kidney failure in a child this age is a very serious deal. It's deadly serious. It's so ridiculous that the family was able to hold it together as well as they did. Just kind of before we get into the meat and potatoes of what I want to talk about today, I just want to give some quick observations about some of the things that I noticed in the episode. The first thing was when Janelle was talking about Christine, she had mentioned that she had known Christine for a number of years and she didn't realize how strong Christine was. The fact that her backbone was as strong and as sturdy as it was to bear the weight of having a child in intensive care and the possibility that she may lose that child, and her resilience and ability to act not only ladylike, but maintain her frame and figure as a mother, and to be able to deal with the critical situation that her daughter was in with extreme grace and, you know, just a beautiful nature. And to be honest with you, I think part of that really shined through, and part of the thing that Robyn and a lot of people who tried to emulate Christine on the show, the one thing that they didn't get was Christine's ability to show empathy for other people. And when I say that, what I'm specifically talking about is, even though she was there dealing with her child and her child's situation and saying that, you know, she was so grateful that Truly was responding to the medicine when she did finally start responding to the medicine or the treatments that were performed for her, what she said was that she felt bad because even though she was there and she was dealing with this terrible situation and this tragic situation, there are people and parents who are showing up day after day, week after week, month after month to this hospital. Kids come in and they stay for a protracted amount of time, or kids come in and they don't leave. And the ability for her to take a step back and say, you know what? Looking at this situation, I realize that I have to make changes in the way I prioritize things. And that's essentially what I want to talk about today. And I'm going to keep it all the way a buck. I'm going to keep it all the way a stack. I'm going to keep it all the way 100. There might be some times during this course of this video where I get mad, or you might see a player's eyes sweat. I ain't going to lie. Like, because there's one point in the video, one of the clips that I'll show, that really kind of hit me, and when I was watching it. And this is what I wanted to talk about. When I say that Cody's response and reaction to how he dealt with him not being able to see his friend Brett and his friend Brett leaving, and the incompatible and inconsistent nature of the way he deals with things that happens in his life, is pretty much nailed down in these two episodes. Yesterday, I did a whole video about his relationship with Brett and how weird it was to me. And there may be some confusion as to what I'm getting at. And I think this video is actually going to clear a lot of that up because of the way and the immeasured way that Cody addresses this monumentous tragedy that happened to the family. Now, the first thing I'm going to show you is a clip of when Cody is talking about what happened to Truly. I just want you to take a look and a notice of how Cody's reaction is, how he's talking about it, and the things that he's saying. Let's take a look.
Christine's going to stay at the hospital tonight, and Truly has essentially kidney failure. They've given her medication to jumpstart her kidneys in hopes that she'll actually urinate. And I don't want to speculate on how bad it could be, but she's not well. Kidney failure means dialysis or death. And I don't know where else to go with it from there.
First and foremost, he's there, he's preparing stuff with Mary, and their day starts out. He's taking Mariah out to get a new car. That's actually her dead name, Joel. He's taking them out to get a car so that they could go to college. And when they're about to go to college, he does all that. He goes upstairs to lay down to get a nap because they're going to have this big birthday party / graduation, going away party for Mariah, because she's leaving the next day and it's going to be awesome. And everybody's kind of running around preparing for it. Christine notices that Truly's eyes cross because she's been sick for a little while since she got back from San Francisco. Her and the wives went to San Fran, and they get back. She started getting sick while they were in San Francisco. They get back. She's still sick. And at one point, her eyes cross and she starts acting buggy. So she says, let me take her to the doctor and find out what's going on. The doctor sees her. Here's the thing about the eyes cross and say, girl, you need to get her ass to the hospital. Why are you here? Go to the ER because she's in trouble. She takes her to the ER. They call Cody. Cody gets up. I'll go check on him. He goes to the hospital. They talk to the hospital, they bring in a specialist, then they bring in another specialist. Now, anytime they start bringing in specialists to see your child, that is a point of concern. Specialists don't just hang out in the hospital looking for stuff to do. When they call in a specialist, it's a big deal. So they call in a specialist. Cody is sitting there. He's listening to this. He understands that, kidney failure could mean, a lifetime of your child having to go in and have their body cleansed through the form of dialysis, or it could possibly mean death. Now, as soon as you hear death, Christmas is canceled, plans are canceled, parties are canceled. Where I am is where I need to be. I'm going to stay here with my child. Because what kind of man? He says that he left Christine there because Christine was going to deal with it. He was going to go back and talk to the family. And when he gets back to the house, he's sitting there eating some cake and having some food with the family, sitting down talking about the situation, enjoying his day with Mariah, whatever the case may be. And my point is this: what kind of damn man has his child in the hospital clinging to life? The doctor comes in there, not only the doctor, two specialists and the pediatrician tell you that your child might not make it. What kind of man? Why would you want to be sitting in a situation where you sitting at the house, chilling at the crib, eating a goddamn piece of cake, and your kid might not be coming out of the hospital? To me, the most terrible thing possible would for my child to be sitting in the hospital and pass away. And for me to think that the last thing that might have been running through my child's mind is, where's dad? I need my father. Where's daddy at? And you're not there for her. And what makes it even worse, because that's bad enough. But for me, what makes it even worse, and I apologize for cursing, but this is just how I feel. Sorry, folks, this is the package. This is what it is. What makes it worse is that you're not just there for your child. The mother of your child is there, and her heart is broken. And you have the opportunity to comfort her in her time of need. But because you're in a polygamous marriage and you have other wives and other kids' needs to fill, she has to go and do it all alone. And that's where I have a problem with this entire arrangement, because it basically takes everything that you've been preaching, the benefits of having multiple wives and sister wives and women who can help take care of your kids. All that was derailed the moment Truly got sick, because every one of them wives could have stood up and said, you know what? I got this. Cody, you need to get your ass to the hospital. This is what you need to do. We'll make sure that Mariah has her party, and We'll do the best we can to make sure everything goes the way it's supposed to go. But Cody, you need to go to the hospital. Unless you here to pick something up or take something back, you need to get your ass to the hospital, because that's where you need to be. And I'm not putting it on these ladies, because what I'm saying is that this is the responsibility of the guy, especially when you consider yourself a traditional man and you are traditional women. This is the role of a traditional man, to be there for your lady. If you want to talk about traditional, if you want to talk about modern, we can do that. But if you want to cast yourself as more of a traditional conservative man who looks at women and they can't wear certain clothes, and you can't let your daughters date till they're 19, but you don't give a damn if they're in the hospital about to kick the damn bucket. You don't even want to protect them from things that might actually hurt them. When they're in jeopardy, you don't want to look out for them. The next thing I want to point out is there was a point where the family gathered and they're standing around there about to pray. Let's take a look.
Would you please ask me?
Okay. Dear God, Heavenly Father, thank you for all of our blessings and everything that God has given us.
What, Mommy?
Baby girl trying to hold it together.
It's okay. It's okay.
Now, this is where I'm going to say distinctively, this is the eye sweating season right here. This is what broke me up. Because when Push Him Down the Shelf, when I first saw that, and then when I had to cut it to clip it so I could put it in the video, I had to rewatch it again. I had to take a moment. Because this video, when Aspen started crying, it reminded me of my daughter. And that's the way she shows emotion. She tries to be strong and, it happens. But the idea that you as a man, you have a daughter that's sick, and your family is going through hell, and your kids are going through hell, and you as a man with a family, whether it's polygamous or monogamous, whatever, these are your children. And the idea that you wouldn't be there for them the way you would be there for your friend, the way you would have that same sentimentality when you're just talking about your buddy, the same way you don't show that type of emotion, that scale of emotion, and that scale of passion. When he was sitting there arguing with Janelle about her sons and talking about, if they would have made one of my kids sick, then I would never forgive them. And I could have clipped that in here. But it's the point that your outrage for something that potentially could happen isn't equal to what actually happened. And that's the whole point. It's not about Cody not showing emotion or having the ability to show emotion or not being fair or somehow he's not being masculine or manly because he cries. That's not what it's about. What it's about is when it came time for Cody to be there for his family the same way he wants to be there for his friend, his priorities are all jacked up. To me, this is the equivalent of if your kid is out, you teaching your kid how to ride a bike, and you let the bike go, and your kid runs into your car, you run up, oh, sweet Jesus, my baby. And you run up and you start polishing on your car, and your kid is laying there on the ground broken. Your priorities are messed up. I'm not saying that you shouldn't feel a certain way. If a car drop on my car, if a tree drops on my car today, I'm going to be upset. But at the same time, if my child runs into the damn car, I'm not going to sit there and worry about my car and my insurance premiums instead of trying to pick my baby up. Like, this is what I'm talking about. This is the part that annoys the hell out of me about Cody and this whole situation. And I apologize if this video is not that funny, but I mean, this really kind of got my goat. So the next thing I want to show is the comparison so that we have a true record of Cody's reaction when it came to talking about his kid. For purposes of this video, I can't even bring myself to say that one of my children wasn't going to be here anymore. This guy, they said it was might be on dialysis or might die. Like, I could never say that about one of my babies. Because, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things with me. Maybe it's just me. But let's watch how Cody talked about inviting his friend from his childhood that he hasn't seen in many years. He invites him up to go to his wedding with Robyn. And this is his reaction as he's talking about his friend wanting to leave the wedding or leave the reception. Because, they've been hanging out all night. They got stuff to do. They want to jet. They want to bounce. This is how Cody reacted. Let's take a look.
I was sad to see him go.
Sad to see him go. I'm going to just end it there. And the fact that he was so moved by that, now keep in mind, this is a scenario that happened like 2 years prior, almost 3 years ago, according to this time frame, because this is the time that they were still in Utah before they moved out to Las Vegas. This is before she had Solomon. Solomon is about 1.5, 2 years old at this point because he's walking around and all that. And so he's a very young child. So it's been a while since this has happened, and he's still that broke up. This is a scenario because in production and in secrets told, part of what we see as far as the confessionals are in fact filmed after the fact. So it could be many months after the fact. But this is something that happened to your child. Your buddy just was leaving for the day. And okay, maybe you didn't see him every day or talk to him every day, but you got a whole family. He got a whole family. You got stuff to do. That's part of growing the hell up. When it comes down to your family and your kids, what are we doing? Your child is in a hospital and you're recounting what happened. And you didn't show the same level of emotion. You didn't show the same emotional buy-in that you had when it came to your friend. Now, finally, I want to show this last clip, and I really want you to pay attention to Christine's reaction and Cody's reaction, not only to Christine, but the circumstances for which he's talking about. And we're going to talk about it on the other side.
We looked down the abyss. One of the nurses told us, she said, normally cases like this, we don't expect them to leave.
Now, Christine is sitting on the couch and she's a damn mess. And I understand why she's upset and I understand why she's crying. Because again, this has been a little while after the circumstance and the situation has happened. Truly, she's already home. She's doing well. Everything is fine, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But Christine is still feeling it. And she's still in the moment because she can look in her mind and she can remember what it was like to see all those tubes hanging out of her child. And feeling like if only she had done something different. And asking herself consistently, what if I had not brought her down here? What if I would have just kept her on the couch? What if I wouldn't have noticed that her eyes was going wonky and thinking that, hey, maybe I should take her to the emergency room or I should take her to the doctor? What would have happened? And this is stuff that's running through Christine's mind because Christine is an involved parent. But when you have an absentee parent, an absentee father who is treating this situation almost like it's a convenience. Oh, yeah, the doctor came in and told us that, sometimes there's people come in, they don't go out. Like, this is not the goddamn Roach Motel. People don't check in and not check out. What is wrong with you? Are you serious? And this is part of the problem and part of the conflict that Cody and Robyn have in not connecting with the fan base. Because to be honest with you, I was kind of done with Cody before, but after watching this, like, you just put another damn check in that little hash mark in the box for me. Because it's hard for me to sympathize with you when you are in a situation where you have so much power, so much influence, and you don't want to share any of that power, influence, and more importantly, your time, concern, or even your empathy for something that's happening to your children. But I'm supposed to feel bad because you missed your friend? Bump that, dude. I'm sorry. I'm even going to take a moment and say this. There are people who are in a situation where they don't have the ability to be able to take off work, or they have children that they have to tend to, or they have other responsibilities that they have to look after. And I'm not criticizing them at all because you have to get through your life the way you get through your life. But at the same time, don't be on TV preaching to me about the normalcy and the positives of having a multi-tiered, multi-leveled, multi-partnered family where you have a bunch of women running around and you guys can't look out for one another. And you can't take a night or 2 weeks, because apparently she had been in the hospital for about 2 weeks, even if it was for a month. You can't take a month to help me deal with this situation where we're about to lose a family member, a child. We just got to be consistent. And that's all I'm asking for. I just like consistency. Not crazy consistency. You can cry for your friend. You can miss people. But at the same time, you should miss your child more. The fear of you losing your child should bother you. That should keep you up at night. As far as you going home and like, oh, we're going to have a party, y'all. I mean, we've been planning for the party, so we're going to jam it out. I mean, Truly's in the hospital. Oh, well, I guess you're going to miss this good time because I'm planning on cutting the rug. Like, what are we doing? That's how you raise a house full of psychopaths who are only concerned about what happens to them and how it happens to them and how things affect them. Because when somebody's in the hospital, we just gonna pretend like it didn't happen, but we not gonna stop our good time. Craziness. That's my take. I'm James. This has been my take on reality, and I'm out. 'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die.